Hey, Mom Nation, it's Katie here again, and I'm back with another Live and Learn. I love these Live and Learns because we have so many awesome people, not only in the MOMnation group, but in our MOMnation network that are super experienced and they've got a lot of value to bring to the table. And these are topics that, gosh, we all need to know, right? So today is just like any other day. We have an amazing guest with us today. Please welcome Devin. Hello, Devin.
Hello, nice to be here.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing awesome. You all ready for the holiday season we got coming up?
I am ready. I'm not ready for the drive back to Idaho, but I'm ready for everything else.
Oh, you're from Idaho?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So for those of you who don't know, it's Devin with Devin Whyte, CPA PC. Did I say that right?
You did?
And we just learned that he is an Idaho native, but lives here in Arizona.
Yes.
What part of Idaho?
Pocatello, Southeast Idaho.
Right on. Well, I hope you bring your boots and your parka.
I don't have any of that anymore, so I'm just going to freeze.
So you're just going to stay indoors, right?
Pretty much.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we are not here to talk about the weather, Devin. We are here to talk about what is coming up, right? It's going to be tax season. I mean, it's tax season in like what? A little over 2 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. For some people, January tax season will start. For most, February through March, April.
So you're going to go have a little break, hang out with the family because you're not going to sleep for like the next 4 months.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about you and your business. Let's start with what types of problems do you help people solve typically?
Okay. Yeah. I help people understand their businesses. So I help them understand, what's working in their business, what isn't working, kind of give them a clearer picture of what's going on for them. I help them solve any tax issues that they have outstanding. And even if they don't have tax issues outstanding, I usually try to get them set up in the best structure so that they're paying the least amount of tax as possible. I also help take away a lot of stress around tax time. For a lot of my clients, most of their stuff is done before we even get to tax season. So just trying to get them caught up and ready. I'm doing most of that work for the majority of those clients. So tax season doesn't have to be as stressful for them. They don't have surprises with their tax returns. They're already paid up, and they just kind of get the information from me and we're good to go.
Awesome. Does it matter if I'm a W-2 employee or if I'm a business owner, small business owner, large business owner? Does it matter? Do you help all?
I help all. Yeah, I help all. My firm is focused on small business, small, medium-sized businesses, but I also do individual tax returns for people who just have the W-2 job and maybe a mortgage.
So real quick, side note, I know this is kind of going off of our little agenda here, but let's talk about TurboTax real quick. You probably like, whenever I hear the word Zillow in my business, I'm like, you know what I mean? So it's probably the same thing for you. But let's maybe just a couple of quick reasons why TurboTax is not the best route to go.
I don't want to entirely tear it down. Probably for some people, if you just, you're 23, 24, you just got a W-2 making 30, 40 grand a year, TurboTax might be a decent solution for you. But a lot of times it's really not. Even with clients that I take on that say they've got great jobs, but they're W-2 jobs and they've got a retirement account, so they don't feel like they have a lot going on. They don't need an advisor. I usually find stuff that TurboTax didn't. A lot of times I'll find entries that they made when inputting data on the last year return. So I literally just amended an Arizona state return for the prior year for someone who said that their company withheld, $30 when in fact they withheld $3,000. So I would like to think Arizona would have sent them a letter by now, but they're much quicker to send those letters when it goes the other way, when they're owed money.
Yeah. So this person had 29, what is the math here? 2970 out there?
2970 back on that. There were other reasons why we were amending, but that's just one easy example of why.
Dang, good to know. I'm glad I asked that question. So let's dive into your focus. And you said you focus on small business, medium-sized business. So let's talk about small businesses. Why do they need CPAs, first of all?
And that's a perfect example going back to your TurboTax question. If you have a small business, you definitely should engage with CPA. For instance, a recent client that I brought on, they only had maybe $35,000 in net income. And I understand when your income levels at that point, you're thinking, I need to do as much as I can to save my money. I need to budget. That's not a lot of money to spread around. And so TurboTax seems awfully appealing compared to my fee. But within a couple of months, I got their tax rate down from 33% to 11% on their income, which basically means you only need $14,000 of income to cover my fee in terms of what you would have got back in taxes. So I actually saved that individual $7,000.
Dang, just because you're experienced, you know these things, and taxes change all the time, right? I mean,
they do change all the time, and there's different structures and setups you can have. So I probably found them more deductions than they would have, but that's not even part of the $7,000 number that I gave. That was literally changing their entity structure and setting some things up a little bit different, just from a legal standpoint.
Dang. It's funny in my business too, I have a lot of do-it-yourselfers, not a lot, but some do-it-yourselfers. And I always say, look, I can perform my own root canal, but do I really want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it here and really look at the situation. I'm probably going to go to a dentist because they have the tools, they have the experience, they have the knowledge, they know what to do if something does go wrong, right? Myself, if I'm in the bathroom doing that myself, probably not the same outcome.
Yep. So a perfect example, what you just brought up, the dentist, right? So if I get someone that's trying to find prices and look for a new CPA, and maybe they've been going to H&R Block before, they're going to ask, well, why does a CPA cost more than H&R Block? And I actually used the dentist example from my personal life. About 10 years ago, I had a dentist remove a root canal. And I learned a lot of things after that happened. One of them being that you should have, I can't remember what they call them, but there's a root canal specialist. That's all they do. They have more training and they have the tools to catch what some people have, which is a fourth nerve. So the dentist that I went to didn't have the training or the tools to see the fourth nerve that I had. And about a year later, that tooth went rotten. I had to leave a vacation halfway through the vacation to come home for surgery. The root canal specialist couldn't save it, and I got referred out to an oral surgeon. So in the long run, it cost me a good $4,000 more trying to save a few bucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because really, there's so much value in experience, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So exactly. Much. So, okay. So small business owners, they need CPAs too for good reason. Let's talk about the home office deduction. I hear that thrown around a ton, and I feel like people don't really understand it.
No, they don't. One important thing to cover for the home office deduction, this happened in the last couple of years with some tax changes, is if you are a W-2 employee, you no longer really can take any home office deduction. In the past, you could take a small version of it. So if you're not self-employed and not running your own business, there's unfortunately nothing for you there. But if you do have a business and you have a home office, most likely you can deduct that, especially if you don't have another office, then you definitely have a home office. And that usually can be between $2,000 to $6,000 worth of a deduction on your tax return.
Awesome. What if you do have a main office?
Then it kind of depends, right? So if you're a physician or a psychiatrist or something and you have an office where you meet your clients, but you don't really handle any of your administrative stuff there. So you come home at the end of the day and that's where you deal with trying to do your bookkeeping and paying all the bills for the company and sending out whatever emails need to be sent out. So you're handling a good amount of administrative activities at home that you don't at the office, then that allows you to have the home office. Or let's say that your home office is on the opposite end of town as your main practice, and you do see some patients that are on your end of town at your home office just to make it easier for the both of you, then that would also qualify as a home office. The
See?
nice thing with a home office is once you have one, you can start writing off all the miles between your home office and your regular office. If you don't have one, you can't write those miles off.
Oh, interesting. See, TurboTax isn't going to tell you that, Devin.
Nope. No, they're
Devin
not.
will tell you that.
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm going off the map a little bit again.
Okay.
I'm hitting you with a one you didn't know you were going to get. So can you explain what is a hobby versus a small business, and where's that line?
Well, as far as the IRS is concerned, if they ever ask you about it, then you probably had 3 or 4 years with nothing but losses in your business. And then they're looking for profit motive. They're looking for that kind of thing. Like, does it look like somebody just spent, an hour a month on this and it was something fun to do and they really just found a way to write off something they enjoy doing? Can they show that they actually sold stuff to other people on a regular basis? So like, I like car stereos and I would love to write off all of my car stereo. But in reality, I'm not out there selling it to people. I'm not putting focus and energy into it. So a lot of it's going off motive and a little bit off of, what do the numbers show you the motive is.
So you could potentially run the risk of being audited if you don't report that correctly.
Right. Well, where you're going to get audited is when you have a loss for too many years in a row.
Okay.
And so here's another TurboTax H&R Block versus CPA example. One of my clients is actually an old friend from college that lives in Bozeman, Montana, and they have a farm. And they've been operating this farm at probably a $40,000 loss a year for 7 years.
Wow.
And so I made them write a business plan of how they're going to bring it profitable. Now, in reality, they may or may not ever bring it profitable. It could be a hobby for them knowing them. But let's pretend that they are trying to make a profit. If the IRS ever asks, because they're definitely in the zone where the IRS might start asking, then we can respond and say, we've had that conversation, we've come up with a plan, we've documented it. And then they might respond and say, okay, well, we'll give you 2 more years to make a profit. And if you don't, you need to stop. Without that letter, they can make you amend the prior 3 years returns and strip out those $40,000 losses that you took every year and pay tax plus penalties and interest on it.
Dang. Another reason why it's important to have a CPA on your side so that they can help assist you and direct you with what you should be doing. My goodness, it gets scary in your world, doesn't it?
It can be. I mean, as long as you know what you're doing and you dot your I's and cross your T's, you're usually good to go. But you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Huge. So back to home office and audit riskiness. Does that put you at risk for being audited?
I would say absolutely not. I've had a few people tell me they don't want to do it because someone told them that really flags them for an audit. I've never seen anyone get asked about a home office in 12 to 13 years. I've never read a court case about home offices being a problem. In my tax magazines and literature, it's never brought up. I've never seen that as an issue. And I mean, it's a legitimate deduction per the tax code. So that's almost like saying any deduction you take is going to put you at risk for audit.
Good point. I know that's a big question out there. And thank you for that information and helping us sort of confirm that that's not really a thing. Lastly, we have a bunch of families out there with little kids running around. Can you pay your kids as like employees? I don't know, to help save tax money?
Absolutely. So if you have a small business, I'm sure the kids can help with janitorial or maybe some of the client interactions. Just really depends on what your business is, what they can do. Kind of got to be careful with OSHA. So if you own a construction business, you got to be thoughtful about what you're having your kids do. Your
7-year-old can't operate the nail gun,
Yeah, you're going to get yourself in trouble there. But yeah, you can. And you can deduct about $12,400 a year per child. It's a deduction for the business, and it is not income for them. You need to be careful with how you do it. Certain types of entities will cause you to have to withhold Medicare and Social Security tax from them. And when you own a business, the business also has to pay its portion of Medicare and Social Security tax for each employee. So that's going to cost 15% if you're paying that payroll out of another business. There's ways around it, but you just got to be aware and speak with your tax advisor on it.
Yet another reason. I think we just talked about 558 reasons that you need Devin in your life. So if our followers, our fans, our mamas, our network need Devin in their life, which we know they do, how can they get in touch with you, Devin?
I am on Facebook. My firm's on Facebook. It's also on the internet. I have a website. It's just Devin Whyte CPA. Actually, the website's Whyte CPA. So if you look that up, it should take you to me. You can email me at devin.white@whitecpapc.com. And if you have a pen handy, my phone number is 480-490-7244.
Awesome. And that's Whyte spelled W-H-Y-T-E.
That is correct. Thank you for pointing that out.
I bet you some people spell it like, the color way. And then
most of the time they do, yeah.
Yeah. So you need to get all those domains, right, of the wrong spellings. Have you done that? I've done that with a couple of my things.
No, I probably should.
Yeah. Get them pointed in the right direction. All right, Devin. Well, it has been amazing. What great nuggets of information. All of our mamas really need to start thinking about this, prepare themselves for tax time. And I thank you so much for being with us today.
You bet. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.